The people. Yeah. Hey guys, it's Jay and Scott, and Monica is also here in the background. If she would roll over.
Hey guys.
We're actually all together today for the first time in our studio here in our beautiful house in West Covina. And hopefully everybody will be calling up on the broadcast here in a second. I know Dr. Osborne is going to be on, and I think Ray's going to log on too. We're kind of all
squeezed in,
crowded around here, so bear with us today. But we want to talk a little bit about Dr. Osborne's new practice. He's leaving his current surgical practice. He's still going to be practicing surgery for select folks, but he is leaving his surgical practice to launch his own anti-aging center, which I'm going to let him talk about when he calls up. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about SOAR, which is our new serious optimal anti-aging regimen seminar that's going to be launching in here at the end of June in Jupiter Beach at the Jupiter Beach Spa and Resort. And then we're also going to discuss a little bit about Get Serious Volume 2, Advanced Strategies, which all of us, including Monica, are going to be writing. So kind of excited.
But not Scott.
Yeah, not yet. Save more money.
So guys, jump in here. What do you guys want to say? I'm going to turn it over to Scott real quick.
Well, Monica almost got
Channel 10 News.
Yeah, so no, I mean, I think we should start off, Jay, talking about a SOAR a little bit and kind of explain a little bit more about. I know that you guys are launching it, and it's kind of getting some legs. So let's tell the viewers, what's going on with that.
Okay, Monica, you want to tell a little about SOAR?
Well, okay, there we go. So SOAR is unique because we're basically going to be speaking to people about how to live a better life, all encompassing, with health, with mindset, from outside and inside. So. I mean, honestly, I think you're the better one to explain it because you know more of the.
Sure. I mean, so what SOAR is in our opinion, or my opinion, I know Dr. Osborne shares it with me. It's like the first of its kind for a seminar that encompasses all of the anti-aging components that people are familiar with. If you're involved in Life Extension International, and you have a subscription, and I know a lot of our readers do have a subscription to Life Extension, the magazine and whatnot. You're already kind of familiar and versed with life extension practices and supplementation and all the different things. But what our seminar really is about is taking that and then integrating it with the finer art of exercise training and technique. And I think we've talked about this previously on other hangouts, but the reality is the average person that goes to gyms in North America today has absolutely no idea what they're doing when it comes to training. I just had a long hangout with Josh Smith on his GSD mode about a week ago. Some of our readers and viewers may have actually seen one of those or listened to one of those podcasts. But yeah, I mean, the average person that goes to the gym really doesn't know how to train. I mean, you guys, can go today to any gym anywhere in North America, or really globally, and look around and observe people training, and they have absolutely no concept of what they're doing. It's actually kind of funny. It's sad more so than it is funny because there's people going to the gym 20, 30 years of their life, and they really never get any results because they don't understand how to actually perform the technique or perform the exercise correctly, contract muscle fibers, and do all those different things. So that's one of the things that you're going to get at this seminar too, is that we're going to spend a full 2 days in a gym with a mobility specialist and Ray Care, also, former Navy SEAL, discussing, how to actually train, showing people exactly how you're supposed to train for your, individual biomechanical anatomical size. So like if you're 6'4" and you have long legs, you're going to learn how to squat, you're going to learn how to deadlift, you're going to learn how to do all of these foundational strength training movements. And from there, you're going to, also learn how to obviously perform the exercises correctly. So, if you're deadlifting and you don't know if somebody tells you how to deadlift and you have no idea how to deadlift, you're going to learn how to properly deadlift. So in addition to that, you're also going to have 2 awesome seminars on Thursday and Friday night in the evening after, let me take a step back. Depending on how many people actually come, our goal is to have between 20 and 30 people there. Dr. Osborne will work with them on Thursday, and then the other half of the group on Friday you'll be sitting down with him and being evaluated by him as he'll become your doctor. So, based on your individual blood panels and whatnot, you'll actually be evaluated by Dr. Osborne.
So Jay, I got a question for
you.
with the event, once if they decide to come and participate, are they doing the blood work ahead of time in preparation, or is that all happening there at the event? What's that kind of structure look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So anybody who registers will be contacted by Dr. Osborne's nurses, and through the seminar, you will be instructed on submitting your blood panels. So you can either do that through your insurance, or you can actually just go through a private labs like discountlabs.com or even privatemdlabs.com, and get the requested blood panels. That's all going to be provided by Dr. Osborne's nurses. But yeah, that stuff will be done beforehand, so that when you do show up, they'll already have your blood panels. So that when Dr. Osborne evaluates you and sits with you individually, for 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, depending on how many people he can get to over 2 days, they'll already have all that information. So it'll be like really a la carte and very customized for you. So it's a great question. So that's how it all happens. So like maybe if we have 20 people, hypothetically, we may have 30. We're not going to go over 30, but the goal is to have 20 to 30 people, again, to give everybody some really customized individual attention. But the first day, let's say we have 20 people, 10 people will be Dr. Osborne until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Say start at 8, go till 3. And then from say 3:30 or 4, they'll be in the gym. What does that mean? What are you pointing at? Oh, you're telling me to look at the computer. Sorry, I'm looking down. I'm trying to turn around here and look here. But some people will be in the gym, and then some people will be with Dr. Osborne. And then we will all merge by 7 o'clock that evening to have the seminar. So the first night of the seminar is going to be Dr. Osborne speaking about anti-aging. I've seen his anti-aging seminar presentation. It's amazing. It's honestly, it's totally life-changing. I mean, the information that you get from him about aging and healthy aging and productive aging and what you got to do to resist stem the tide of aging is amazing. And then in the second half of that seminar, it'll be TRT. So we'll be talking a lot about my book, and also HRT for women too. So it won't just be testosterone replacement therapy for men and how to optimize it, but we'll also discuss how to work for women. And then the second night, so the second day, it'll be the same type of thing. The other half of the group will be evaluated clinically by Dr. Osborne. And then the other half will meet in that afternoon for strength training sessions, again, individualized one-on-one sessions. And then that night, we'll have the seminar will be for Ray Care to discuss Navy SEAL mindset. And then the second half, and then Monica will also be involved in discussing mindset in her conversations, quote unquote, speech, seminar presentation. And then Jim Brown, who's our mobility specialist expert, will then get the second half of the night to go over everything that you probably learned in those 2 previous days in the gym, but to really specialize and go over like how to avoid getting an injury, what to do if you do get an injury, and all that kind of stuff. So some really, really awesome stuff. And then on Saturday, the final day, everybody who wants to will go out on the beach in the morning, like literally at dawn. The seminar, the hotel is the Jupiter Spa and Beach Resort is right on the beach. And we'll have Navy SEAL stuff. So it'll be like tactical fitness is what the SEALs call it. But you'll be out there on the beach doing some PT, possibly in the water, but just some awesome stuff. You really learn how to work together and stuff like that. Monica and I did it back in February. It's really motivational stuff.
Yeah, and I think one thing that people usually ask is like, how is this different from your typical seminar? I've been to a slew of seminars, and this is not about building a business, not about jumping up and down and changing your state or any of that. This is about you creating a better you from the inside out. And then also, physically, like aesthetically, what do you look like? And that's the great thing about it, because Dr. O is going to explain in depth what goes on with the aging process. What can you do to make yourself better as you age? You don't have to necessarily age into an old person. You can still look great, feel great, and train so you don't hurt yourself. So this is complete. There's absolutely nothing like this out there. And I've researched up and down all over. There's nothing like it. So we are thrilled. We're so excited.
So question I have for you guys is, obviously people come out, you get very enthused, it's life-changing. You're going through this whole program in 3 days, and then you go back to your normal life and grind. And what are you guys putting in place? What are you working on to have kind of a system and something for people to continue this process and fall, so that they can really, stay on this path that they want to be on?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. And I think overall what we're doing in the seminar is teaching people how to actually apply what it is that we're teaching. So it's not just, okay, well, this is what you've got to do in order to train this way, or these are like when Dr. O has a sit down with them and he goes over their panels. Okay, these are what we expect you to take. This is how you take it. Then when you train, this is how you train. And the good thing about it too is that they're going to be able to communicate. If they're Dr. O's patient, they'll be able to communicate with him on how they're feeling. And then of course too, we'll also have like some type of coaching involved at a later date that can help people with that. But regardless, it all comes down to that individual if they so desire later on to create that continual change in their life, because we can teach them all of this in that weekend, but they've got to keep doing what we teach them during that weekend. This is what you got to do. This is how you do it. And they're going to learn it hands-on. It's not just about learning it in the book, reading it. This is how you actually complete it.
Yeah, to further address what Monica's saying and what Scott's question is there'll be like a face group. Everybody who comes to SOAR will be involved in a private Facebook group going forward. Mm-hmm. So, any questions that you may have, something that maybe wasn't covered as adequately as it needed to be covered when you were first there, or even for some of the beginners, let's say some, because we're going to have different levels of fitness, right? We're going to have people that are 40 years old, that are ex-special forces or ex-cops or law enforcement or something, who are already in really good shape and they're looking to go to the next level, right? So we can help them. And then we're going to have neophytes, right? We're going to have complete newbies. We're going to have like 35-year-old people who are not really in great shape, but who want to get in better shape, right? They want to learn how to eat right. They want to learn how to eat right. They want to learn how to, they want to learn how to eat for their body, right? We've had these conversations.
Yeah.
Like they need to understand like what's their A1C level? What is their insulin sensitivity? Stop buying books like low carb diet books or zone books or the 6 meal a day plan or whatever. Understand your individual genetic structure and your individual genetic code. It's called somatotype, and understand how to eat because of that. So, to answer your question, vociferously, like when they leave, they should know exactly how they're going to eat for the rest of their life to really get the physique that they ultimately want to have. Okay, so you're not going to go home and you're going to be like, I had 3 days, with Jay and Monica and Dr. Osborne and Ray and Jim and Melissa. And now I'm back to normal. No, you're going to leave there with a blueprint, a real live blueprint, and as Monica said, the coaching will be, listen, this is your A1C level. You're a guy that can only eat 50 to 75 grams of carbs a day. So now how do we design a diet around your understanding that you can only eat those amount of carbohydrates versus somebody else who may be, optimally, physically lean, super lean, kind of buff guy naturally, and he can go back and eat 250 grams of carbs a day. And so his diet will have to be designed around that too. So everybody's unique. Mm-hmm. There's no one size fits all approach from a dietary perspective. So, understanding that, we will design this program so that when they do leave, they're going to have a complete protocol that they can follow for the rest of their life, utilizing whatever their goals are, right? And we always talk about this on our blog. There's 3 goals, okay? Any human being can only have 3 goals in regards to their fitness and nutrition. They can either want to build muscle, number 1. They can, number 2, which is most people, they want to lose fat, they want to tone up, get sculpted, or number 3, they can maintain what they are. Now, the number 3 level is for people that are usually athletes, right? They may be SWAT team members. They may be, still active duty military people. And so they have to maintain what they are. So we'll give them a diet and training around that.
So right now, the two of you guys are at a place where you're at the maintenance level, correct?
Exactly. But
there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, it's a good question, though. I mean, we do.
But you would consider yourself in that category.
Pretty much maintenance, but it's a good question because if we, when we did the photo shoot for the next book, which we're going to talk about in a minute, we were definitely in a fat loss mode. Even people that are in great shape like Monica and I will definitely change our diet or modify our diet for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, to get leaner and, to tighten up or whatever it is that we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just as somebody who's in already good shape wants to add 10 pounds of muscle, well, they're going to now have to eat. Their diet is going to have to change to actually add the muscle.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So your diet is always going to be a function of your goal.
Right.
So if your goal is to build muscle, you're going to, Dr. Osborne has talked about this in the show a number of times, but you're either catabolic or you're anabolic. Okay. And to not confuse anybody, what's up, Doc?
Hey guys, I'm actually on my cell phone because 2 computers are not working. Interesting.
Well, that's all right. You're good. You're good. So you're either, yeah, you look great. You're either catabolic or you're anabolic, right? So if you're catabolic, and again, I don't want to confuse people and make this simple and dumb this down. If you're catabolic, that means you're eating less calories, okay, than is required to maintain, right, your current condition. So if you're 200 pounds, and I'm not going to get into body fat, but if you're 200 pounds and your normal maintenance caloric requirement is say 15 or 14 calories a pound, then you would be eating 2,500 calories a pound. So if you're going to lose body fat, you have to eat less. Okay, so you're catabolic. You're losing body fat, and you're also losing a little bit of muscle because it's impossible not to. To be anabolic, you're going to eat higher than 15 calories a pound. So you're going to probably eat 2,750 to 3,000 calories to gain muscle. Mm-hmm. So there's no in between. There's a lot of diet gurus and a lot of people out there in the health and fitness community that will talk about you can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Okay, it's BS. Okay, it's theoretically impossible. Now there are people that are genetically freaked, and they have amazing genetics, and some people when they're beginning to doing this stuff can actually gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, but very, very minimal opportunity to do that, and very few people can ever do that. So it's always one or the other. You're either losing body fat and eating less food and increasing your movement patterns, or you're eating more food than is normal and working out hard, lifting weights to put on more muscle.
Yeah, it feels good, huh?
Right, so
but honestly, I wouldn't, because I don't know about everybody else, but sometimes I get a little confused when they start talking about, well, you got to eat this amount for that many calories or that pound or whatever it is. It's going to be broken down based upon who you are, so I wouldn't necessarily get too confused when he's having that conversation. I think that when people do come to SOAR, individually, we're going to work with people individually. That's why we're not going to have a large group of people there, because we want to make sure that this is tailor-made for each respective individual. And that in itself is unique because nobody else has that.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to maybe tune in to Doc.
What's up, Doc?
So Doc, so Scott actually had a really good question, and
right.
we answered it, but just so I can paraphrase it again for you real quick so you can give your answer too, is his question was okay, so I go to SOAR and I get all this amazing information. What do I do when I get back? What kind of follow-up are you guys going to give us? How am I going to know that after I leave SOAR and I'm armed with all this amazing information, what's going to happen from there? And I already said to him, we're going to have the Facebook private group for everybody that comes to SOAR, and people will be able to leave their questions and stuff like that. But what else would you add regarding that?
Well, you have to, the ultimate goal for everyone should be that of health and longevity. Now, that said, there are individuals who their goal is to, at least in the short period of time, shed some fat, and then secondarily add muscle and become just overall more of a shapely individual. And I think that that's probably everybody's goal, because everybody can afford to lose some fat, and the fat loss is conducive to health and as well as longevity, and that's something that's discussed almost ad nauseum at these seminars. So as far as the follow-up is concerned, you have to remember that everybody that comes through SOAR is ultimately going to be not only a patient of mine, but also sort of on your radar as well. So the follow-up actually is the follow-up system that we have in place is quite extensive, both from the standpoint of they will obviously be in very, very close contact with me, girls in my office, my nurses, you and Monica, and I don't think, quite frankly, that there's a better system in place as far as follow-up is concerned, because they have open access, and that's really the way it is. I mean, all of my patients that are on hormone replacement therapy, they all are given my cell phone number, for better or for worse. Doctors, other doctors would say that that's absolute blasphemy. But if we're going to be manipulating, your hormones potentially, again, in the context of health, I want to know what's going on.
Dude, I could actually see you changing your cell phone number in about 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. It's been open access basically for everybody thus far, and I do get a lot of texts and things like that, and most of them I reroute to Roseanne, my nurse, or I will somebody will mention your name, preemptively or sort of as a preface to the question, and I'll say you can talk to Jay because he's well versed, and you are, as is Monica. So I think that we have a very, very robust sort of network, and people will not be left in the dark. And getting back to what I was saying before about losing the body fat, if you've already gotten yourself down to a respectable level or the desired level of body fat, and your goal now is to put on muscle, yes. And I came into this conversation late, but Jay, but I heard you talking about anabolic versus catabolic, and that's really where you have to decide where you sort of want to be. You're not going to be both because it's impossible. That's not the way the body works. You're going to be one or the other. So you're either going to decide that you want to put on a little bit of weight, and when I say a little bit of weight, that means you have a body fat percentage that you are currently happy with, and you want to add a little bit of muscle. You have to understand that with a little bit of muscle, which requires insulin as well as testosterone and growth hormone, etc., you're going to put on not only muscle, but you're going to put on a little bit of fat. And you have to sort of figure out your body and develop a body mindfulness so that you understand just how much of a daily carbohydrate load you need to put on muscle without putting on excessive amounts of fat. And that's really where having a robust feedback system can help. And I know that you coach a lot of people, Jay and Monica, and these are the things that we have to continue doing. If somebody has realized that, hey, they're getting bulky, but a little bit, they're putting on a little bit more fat than they would like. Well, then the obvious answer, hey Ray, the obvious answer to something like that is going to be, just drop the carbohydrate load just a little bit. Maybe increase the amount of good fats that you're having, or increase the protein, and you'll probably notice that you're becoming a little bit more shapely by virtue of the fact that you're losing fat. Right. And these are the sort of this is the fine tuning that has to go on. So when somebody leaves SOAR, they have to leave SOAR with a goal. They have to come to SOAR with a goal. My goal is to lose body fat, and it doesn't matter if I shed a little bit of muscle in the process, which you're going to if you're catabolic. Well, we can show you how to do that based upon where you're sitting right now. We can just do some rough calculations with BMR, and these things take about 30 seconds. And then you can come up with a very, very tailored plan for yourself with regard to your diet. Supplements, etc. The strength training is going to be basically the same. If your goal is to lose a little bit of fat, as opposed to getting yourself in that more anabolic state, be more catabolic, you're going to have to push up the endurance work a little bit more and run it at a slight caloric deficit. And these are the things that they will be discussed with the participants on an individual basis. Because it's not one size fits all. Everybody has to go there, come to SOAR with a goal in mind, and then we can tailor, diet, strength training, et cetera, even supplements, okay, based upon one's goal. So nobody's going to be left in the dark. Unlike a lot of these other, sort of one size fits all programs, that's not what this is. And that's why there are only 20 people that are going to be allowed sort of at a shot, because everybody needs their own individualized plan and sort of attention paid to them, because everybody's different. There's no such thing as a one size fits all, which is why there are 9 million diet books out there, aside from the fact that everybody wants to make some money.
I think just if I could jump in real quick, I think one of the things I was saying is before you got on, Doc, is that you're going to really spend a lot of time with, not a lot of time, but as much time as you need individually with people. And when you're going over their A1C levels, you're going to have a really good understanding of knowing their insulin sensitivity, and you're going to be able to have a frank discussion with them and say, hey, look, buddy, you may be one of those guys that needs to only eat less than 7,500 grams of carbs a day, and that's where you got to be if you want to be lean and function optimally, And
that's it. That's it. And have that discussion
nobody gives them that, though.
All the time.
At the end of the day, we both know that nobody gets that. They can read every frickin' muscle magazine out there. They can read Life Extension magazine. They can read pretty much everything, and there's no one that's really sitting there and telling people to their face, look, dude, it's not about a low-carb or a zero-carb diet. It's about knowing exactly what works for you individually. And so I think that that's one of the big advantages that we have, is that everybody that's going to come here is going to leave knowing how they should eat to look the best you. There's no guesswork. We're eliminating the guesswork.
Right. There is no guesswork because you know, this is just science, and if you follow the science, okay, you can push your body in any direction that you'd like to push it. Again, whether it's, you know, dropping fat, okay, or adding a little bit more muscle. Okay, one of the things that I would recommend that individuals do prior to coming down to SOAR is, number one, read the book. Okay, read Get Serious so you know you're not lost. Okay, we do our best to explain the science, and that's sometimes difficult, and we field a lot of questions in that regard. But if you understand, if you come down with an understanding of the science, a basic understanding of the science will further elucidate it for you. In addition, you should come down with the goal. Okay, just like what we were talking about. I want to put muscle on my body. I want my goal is to lose fat, or both. And you should also come down. One of the things that people rarely come to my office with, except those that are very, very educated and perceptive, is a week's food log. So we know where you're living. And then when we look at the A1C and we look at the fasting glucose and we look at some of the other metabolic markers that are included in the blood panel, we sort of know a little bit about your metabolism, about your physiology. There's some people that are going to come down and they're mesomorphs. There are some people that are going to come down and they're ectomorphic types. And these individuals vary significantly in their physiologies, and most specifically in their degree of carbohydrate sensitivity, tolerance, insulin sensitivity, et cetera, et cetera. And these are very, very important things. Your goal when you come down to SOAR is to have a goal, okay, as far as what you want to look like, what your goal is, you know, aside from the health, what you want to look like physically, whether, again, you want to lose fat, whether you want to put on muscle, whether you want to be a little bit more bulky, strength, et cetera, et cetera. You got to come down with the food log. You got to come down with some sort of basic understanding, and then just allow us to make suggestions, to tailor, to customize based upon your you know, your biochemistry. And these are important things. The underpinning of SOAR, the underpinning of Get Serious, is knowledge. If you don't take the time to understand your body, to understand the science, to understand what's going on, you're never ever going to attain your goals. You will be lost in a bookstore, okay, with 9 million diet books and 9 million doctors saying that they know, exactly what your problem is. It gets very confusing, but you know what? It's not confusing. And if you come to SOAR and you listen and you ask questions, I guarantee you, okay, we will double, triple, okay, quadruple your knowledge and sort of your understanding and your ability to apply it to everyday life. In other words, when you go out to dinner, I always tell people, just remember one thing: when you go out to dinner, and you're under sort of the notion that you can't go out to dinner because you're on some sort of diet, or you can't go out to dinner because they don't have any food. Well, if you think about your food just as, what is this doing to my insulin level, and you understand exactly what that means, you'll never ever have a problem going out to dinner. I can go to McDonald's, okay, and I can eat
exactly.
I can go to McDonald's and eat
something right. That's exactly right. You know. Right. Scott's going to ask a question for Ray here in 2 seconds. I just want to add in there because it's a perfect time to jump in. You can, and all of us can practice this with our family members and our peers and everybody. But like, I just had my sister over here, and Monica can relate to this. My sister was over here on Sunday, and my sister's been battling, like, she's not really super out of shape, but she's always, you know, battling. Typical, you know, late 30s woman, always battling something. There's up and down, weight loss or whatever. And she's a very bright woman, you know, vice president of her company. And I asked her, well, Sarah, you know, what is your insulin sensitivity? Do you know what your A1C level is? And she looks at me with this befuddled look on her face. So at the end of the day, most people have no clue. They have no clue how many carbs, and I should have made that more lay. Let me break that down even better. Sarah, how many carbs do you think you should eat during the course of a day, right? So at the end of the day, if you can get through to the average person and let them know that they can only eat 50 to 100 to 200 grams of carbs, what Brett just said is absolutely apropos. You can eat anywhere, anytime, and know exactly what you can get by with eating and not cause any harm to your body, okay? And the average person does not understand that. And as Monica and Brett just said, they go and they buy books and they get more and more confused and they think they should eat 0 carbs or 20 carbs or whatever, and then they just never understand how they're going to apply all of this dietary knowledge that they're already confused about to their own physique. And it's as simple as Brett said 1,000 times. You have to understand how your body reacts to eating carbohydrates, okay? What is your insulin sensitivity, okay? This is eventually going to sink through, whether it takes 6 more months, 6 more years of us doing these hangouts, but people have to understand when they eat carbohydrates, what happens to their insulin sensitivity, what happens to their actual insulin response in their body when they eat. So once you understand that, as Brett said very well, you can eat wherever. Yes, you can go to McDonald's. I know that that sounds sacrilegious, but you can. You can eat wherever. It's just understanding what you can get away with, okay? And the average person, I shouldn't say average person, 90% of people have no clue.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're on.
Well, you know, Ray, welcome, buddy.
Ray!
Hey, guys. Apologize for being late.
Don't worry about it.
It starts when you show up.
We're glad you're here. So we've been talking about what people are going to be getting out of SOAR, and so I wanted to ask you, you know, what's your main focus for the people that are coming down to get out of their mindset shift, and what are you going to be talking about? How are you going to be kind of coaching them through not only the program, but to continue that along, and you know, them being accountable to the group and just all that?
Well, you know, that's a good question. I bring a different piece of the flavor of mindset as to Monica, but I bring the SEAL mentality, and the SEAL mentality is say then do. You know, you have to make the conscious decision. I have a saying figured out. I use it all the time. The guys laugh at me. Don't make excuses, make solutions. So what I do is I break down the mindset piece just from the basics, and I break everything down short, middle, and long term with goals, with mindset, with what you're going to do, and just teach you simple ways of strengthening your mind in order to accomplish your goals. I do that through, you know, we'll do a presentation and I give you some trade secrets, and then we take it to what I like to do, the hands-on portion, where, you know, and we all do this too, we break it down during PT, and people are like, well, what does that mean? I teach people to work as a team, even people that are complete strangers, you know. I mean, you take me, Jay, Monica, Doc, and everybody, we're strangers, but when we're together, we're unstoppable. And that's what's so great about SOAR. You know, it's the best of the best that have just collided together, and that's what we do. We bring all of what we have, and my portion is a mindset. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally break people down in the short time that I'm there, and I'm going to rebuild them, and I'm going to give them it's like a building block, steps, little key notes and tips on how to do it. I'm not going to give the secrets out now. You know, I'm not going to do that, but when we're there, I'm going to teach you, and it's proven effective. And during the SEAL morning exercise that we do, it all comes into play, and it's amazing when it does too, because, you know, we sit there and we go through all these exercises, and you watch people just evolve. You watch them evolve as a team and as individuals. It's amazing, and they get it. And that's my portion of what I bring to it. And what I want them to do afterwards is I want them to continually, you know, push and drive, you know, with the 2 Ds, drive and determination, you know, desire and determination. It's the key to success and the key to life. And I mean, what's so great about it is everybody that comes there, they want it. You know, they're missing something. And that's where Monica, you know, Monica's mindset is amazing, and you know, I learn from her and she learns from me, and it's a continual learning process.
You know, like one of the things, real quick, one of the things that I got from Ray's stuff when we did the trial run back in February was that, because again, you know, as Ray said, we're going to have people from all different walks of life. We're going to have people that are, you know, business executives in Fortune 500 companies. We're going to have people that are, you know, clerical people who are just trying to improve their life and get to a higher level. So one of the things that I really liked about being on the beach and doing the stuff that Ray did is he truly, in 90 minutes, actually it wasn't even 90 minutes, it was like 70 minutes or so, he united all of us from all of our different backgrounds, our racial differences, our ethnic differences, all of these things that make us all unique as individuals and human beings. He was able to make us work as a team in like 45, 60 minutes, and you learn like this powerful, like, wow, if I can build a team with people that I have no earthly idea, who they were, a day ago or 2 days ago before, they came to SOAR, why can't I go back into my business world or into my personal relationships world and build that kind of powerful collective, team, or create that type of team-based mindset where you can like lift everybody up around you, So whether you're in real estate or whether you're a doctor or whatever, you're going to learn, from Ray's stuff, especially on the Saturday morning thing, and people need to go to that. There's no reason to ever avoid that because you're not going to get hurt. He doesn't make it to the point where it's dangerous. I mean, it's challenging, but it's not dangerous.
That's no fun. Come on, Ray.
Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous, but I don't want people to think, and I know Brett can agree with me on this. We don't want people to think that you can't, as someone who's say, not in great shape in the early 30s or early 40s or even early 50s, can't make it and take part in it.
I finished.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but
but
back to what I was saying is like you really, really will learn how to go back into your personal and private life, your professional life, whatever, and apply these concepts into a way that you can improve not only your personal life but the people around you. So whether that's office workers or coworkers, or if you're an entrepreneur, peers and stuff like that, you'll be able to take that mindset and apply it to your life for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to make something real clear, and I spoke with Jay and Monica and Doc when I did this. I've done this thousands and thousands and thousands of times. My goal is to push and break you down mentally. My objective is not to break or hurt you. I will not do that. Safety is paramount. I've probably done 5,000 evolutions. I'm rounding up, give or take. Knock on wood, we've never had an incident because safety is paramount, and that's something that all of us agree on. I will not let it get to that. Each individual has strengths and weaknesses, and you feed off each other, and we find a happy medium. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it too because Ray and I will bring something different, and I think that when you put it all together, we make a whole.
Okay, so real quick, let me just recap that, and then Brett, we're going to talk about your new practice before we talk about GSV2. So that's the way it's going to be. So the first day, if people are traveling, depending on where people are coming, we may have. I mean, right now it's on the itinerary. And by the way, guys, everybody can go read about SOAR. It's soarforever.com. We have an awesome sales page there. There's no possible way that you can leave that sales page without being completely informed of everything that we're going to give you. But the first day, that night, if you're traveling across the country and you get to the Jupiter Beach Resort and Spa on Wednesday, we're going to have an 8 o'clock or an 8:30 meeting just to, Brett and I will talk about what you guys are going to learn or what people are going to learn over the next 2 days. Brett will talk a little bit about, visiting his practice and letting him clinically evaluating you. And then that night, Brett will give his anti-aging seminar. Before that, we're going to be in the gym. We'll be doing some exercise stuff with Ray and Jim Brown, our mobility guy, and then also Melissa and Monica and myself. And then I will also, after Brett's anti-aging presentation is done, I will be doing a TRT presentation and an HRT presentation. Brett will, of course, help me. And then the following day, the next half of the patients will go and be clinically evaluated by Brett. And the other people that were evaluated the day before will be in the gym. And then again, we'll all converge again on Friday evening for a seminar that will have Ray and Monica speaking on mindset, and then Jim will and Melissa will finish it up with performance or mobility stuff. And then Saturday morning, again, we final everything with being on the beach, Ray doing tactical SEAL stuff, and then we all head to the WOD farm, which is the gym, on Saturday afternoon. And then I think on Saturday night we're going to have like a final farewell session. That's it. So Brett, the other two topics I want to talk about is obviously we want to talk a little bit about your practice. So tell us a little bit about your new practice.
Right. So the new practice is I'm sort of transitioning to some degree into a more hybridized practice than I have at this point. Right now, in the past, for the past whatever it's been, 13 years, my main focus has been neurosurgery, and I've been over the past several, I've been trying to integrate anti-aging integrative regenerative medicine into the neurosurgical practice, and the two subspecialties are very disparate, if you will. They're sort of at opposite ends of the spectrum, just from the standpoint that surgeons tend to be a little bit more on the sort of on the aggressive side of the medical spectrum, as opposed to somebody who is more into the prevention of the diseases, which the diseases that I'm now addressing surgically. So my thought has always been, well, why address them surgically if you can teach somebody to prevent them, and at the same time potentially by preventing these diseases, they're making themselves more healthy and potentially extending their lives. So we're trying to merge these two very, very disparate entities into a single, or under a single roof. I'm going to be working side by side with a cosmetic plastic surgeon who's going to be housed under the same roof there. So I always liken the practice to, well, she sort of does the outside and I do the inside.
Right.
So those patients that obviously come to me from a neurosurgical standpoint, those patients will be taken care of, obviously, in my usual conservative with my usual conservative approach. That being, try everything non-surgical firstly, and if all else fails, then do surgery. And that's always really been my MO. Ideally, I would like to get these patients as anti-aging patients, or as preventative of medicine patients prior to them developing neurosurgical pathology. So that's really the sort of the in and outs of the practice. Again, it's going to be very, very interesting trying to merge these two very, very distinct subspecialties together. I've sort of gotten a little taste of it over the past. It's been about 5 years since this has sort of been trickling at a greater intensity into my practice as time goes by. And I've learned a lot, and we have the majority of it really figured out and streamlined at this point. But as we get into this new office, things are going to be different. I'm going to be practicing under my own corporation, as opposed to practicing under a very, very large hospital corporation that sometimes doesn't foster disease prevention, because, as you know, hospitals are in business, and they're in business to take care of those that are sick or infirmed, and my goal is actually to keep the patients out of the hospital. So that's really what the focus of the new practice is going to be. I would say percentage-wise, it's going to be we're going to start out with a 50-50 sort of neurosurgical, anti-aging, regenerative practice, and then ultimately, and hopefully as time goes by, be able to transition that more to a sort of an 80-20, where I'm doing more anti-aging than I am doing anti-aging regenerative medicine, preventative medicine, than I am operating. So, because that's really more so where my interests lie at this point. So, it's going to be a very, very interesting sort of unique practice. We're going to be very, very well represented on the internet, and on social media, in order to really get the message out there. And obviously, Jay and Monica, you guys have been, terrific facilitators, in that regard, and hopefully it's just going to ultimately enhance, the message, and be able to facilitate our delivery of it. So that's really, really the summarily, what's going on with the new sort of venture. And SOAR obviously is kind of, bolster whatever we're doing there, and allow us to again portray this get this message across, nationally and if not globally. So we're looking forward to getting started in the new office, and we're due to open up shop in early June. So
Doc, are you guys launching a specific website, and
Is there going to be information on
So my
there?
website is being rebuilt right now, Scott. You know, I have a website which was put up concomitantly with the book. So as of the website has been up for about a little over a year now. The website is currently being revamped. That website is www.drbretosborne.com, and it was really, again, it was a way for me to you know, put up some blogs, which I did, and get the message across about the book. But it's going to be far more involved and robust come end of May, early June, when this practice is really due to launch. So yeah, it's being built right now, and it's going to be under the same URL. Obviously, we're just going to tie the two together. One is going to overlay the other, so to speak. Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
People are going to be able to go to the site and put in their information and request potentially a consultation, and then they'd be going to your nurses, and then you would evaluate whether or not you.
Absolutely, all that stuff is already being built into the website. No question about it. It's all going to be very, 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 very streamlined.
And this is actually a good segue. And we're going to jump into Get Serious V2 and then answer some questions here in a second. But there's a lot of people that who have been emailing me. You know, Doc knows this, but you know, I'll just leave it for the transcript for when people read it. There's been a lot of guys that, you know, I shouldn't say guys, gals too, mostly guys, but some gals who've been emailing me, who've been working with Dr. Osborne's amazing nurses, you know, over the last couple of months, you know, contemplating whether or not they were going to fly down. Just for everybody, so they know, they're basically, you know, he's moving to the new practice, and the new practice is going to have new email addresses. So if you've been emailing Roseanne or Monique at, I think it was their email addresses at Tenet Health, that's no longer any good, right, Doc? It's now Ageless Corp, right?
That's correct. And Ageless Corp, and again, we will make this very much known in the coming weeks. But yes, it's going to be under Ageless Corp. Now, the reason why is because Ageless Corp, Ageless RX, okay, Surgical Specialties, is the parent corporation that myself and the plastic surgeon are going to be under. We have our own separate corporations, but that is sort of a unified front, and that's going to be on, well, that is on the signage of the office at this point. Our emails are going to be routed through Ageless Corp, so don't be concerned when it's not through Tenet Health, when it doesn't have my name, whether, you know, it's not going to have my name there either. It's not going to be something at, you know, at drbretosborne.com or something like that. You're not going to see that. You're going to see Ageless Corp, okay, and that's going to be us. And again, all patients and those who are going to become patients obviously will be informed of this, you know, via email, et cetera, et cetera. Those who come to SOAR, obviously, it's going to be blasted there as well in the slide presentation. So that's the story with that. Just do not
make it a distinct is people that are going to SOAR are going for a lot more than just if they wanted to do consultation with you. So they do have the option to do it separate, not just part of the SOAR package, correct?
That's right. They do. I would very, 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 very strongly recommend the seminar. The additive cost is nominal. I'm going to tell you the extra cost is nominal because SOAR really the seminar not only exposes the individual to those people who ultimately will be involved in their healthcare in the future, but it really allows an individual to gain an understanding of their what's going on inside their body, what's going on inside an individual's body, not even necessarily theirs, and will really allow them and empower them and to make empower them with the knowledge which will ultimately allow them to make better decisions moving forward. They can ask questions. It's a very, very interactive. It's close. It's personalized. It's individualized. They do get some of these things when they come as consultations on an individual basis in the absence of SOAR, but I will tell you that SOAR really, really gives you a good taste of sort of my and our mindset. I always say that SOAR is sort of Get Serious personified, because all the things that we talk about at SOAR are at least overviewed in the book. SOAR goes deeper, okay? But if you can just come away from SOAR understanding 50% of what we are teaching at SOAR, okay, in the context of lifestyle modifications, physiology, mindset, et cetera, okay, you're going to be a heck of a lot better off, okay, with that knowledge than you would be just coming to talk to me during a consultation for 45 minutes. Okay, so it's almost imperative that you come to the seminar.
Right. Awesome. And just to say, dude, and I want to jump into GSV2, and then we'll take some answer some questions. Everybody, as far as like that's coming through our site now, and saying, I want to consult with Dr. Osborne, which I get a lot of the people now, and they're just a couple of things to say. First off, Doc's transitioning now to his new office. He's already got a boatload of patients that are on his calendar. He will get to you. Do not panic. Do not start sending crazy emails to me or to his nurses. As far as if you want to be a new patient now, just realize that the next month and a half is going to be crazy. As Dr. Osborne said, if you really, really want to see him in the next 2 months, your absolute best bet is go to soarforever.com and sign up. Okay, the dates are not the 25th, 24th through the 27th. You are going to get far more value at SOAR over 3 days than you will if you just go see him from a standpoint of like what you're getting value added. So that's neither here nor there. Again, soarforever.com. There's plenty of information, and you'll get everything. So I wanted to jump into talk a little bit about the book. Not going to spend a lot of time. I have the actual table of contents pulled up here, and I want to just to mention them. First off, I'll let Doc talk about it, but this is the follow-up to Get Serious. Get Serious is a book that anyone interested in bettering themselves from a health and fitness standpoint should own, okay? There's no reason if you don't own that book that you shouldn't have already bought it. You can go on Amazon. You can go through my site. You can go to his site, drbrettosborne.com. You can buy the book. It's a mandatory book to read. Now, that said, this next book that we're doing, which is Get Serious Volume 2, Advanced Strategies, is really Get Serious times 10 or times 100. So here are the chapters. We're just going to lay them out. I think we'll probably have a whole nother hangout to discuss all these different chapters. But chapter 1 is going to be called Aging is a Disease Only You Can Slow. Chapter 2 is Mindset, a Prerequisite of Health, Strength, and Longevity. Chapter 3 is Optimizing Your Genetic Profile. Chapter 4 is Becoming a Strength Training Jedi. Strength protocols outline what to do without access to gym, hotel workouts, etc. Chapter 5 is Biomechanics, Mobility is the Real Flexibility. Chapter 6 is What to Do if and when you get injured. Chapter 7 is Carb Cycling for the Elite. Chapter 8, hey McKenna.
Hi, McKenna.
He's getting so bored of me reading this. Chapter 8, yeah, she's awesome. Chapter 8 is Intermittent Fasting for ultra fat loss and maximum muscle retention, which is going to be an awesome chapter. Chapter 9 is Everything HRT for women and PRT for men. Chapter 10 is Biohacking for 2025. Chapter 11 is SOAR to your highest level, which we'll be talking about SOAR, obviously. And then Chapter 12 will be Human Mortality and the Next Frontier. So I want to let Doc say something about the book. But honestly, guys, I don't know a book that's going to be in the health and fitness realm that would be as advanced and as practical as this book. What say you?
What say me?
Yep.
Honestly, there's nothing else that you're going to need to read once you get that book. It's phenomenal.
Yep. Doc?
Right. So the book is sort of a follow-up to Get Serious. I think that it addresses some of the unanswered questions which were posed to me in the wake of the first book of Get Serious. It's the two should be read serially. Yes, the second version can be read in isolation to those that already have a significant amount of knowledge, health and fitness knowledge, because it does address some advanced techniques such as carbohydrate cycling, as Jay had mentioned, which is an advanced technique. It's for somebody that really understands insulin sensitivity, somebody that understands what carbohydrates do to the body, for better or for worse. And it's a technique that is not. We did mention it during the sort of the beta run of SOAR. We had that hangout which was talking directly about that topic, but there's a whole chapter dedicated to that. Weight loss strategies is something that was sort of left out of the first book for logistical reasons, which I'm not going to get into right now, but that's an often posed question: how do I lose body fat? And that's something that's glaringly absent from the first book, unless you are perceptive enough to sort of understand the role of carbohydrates in the anabolic and the catabolic state, and how to and sort of how to manipulate your carbohydrate load, really your sugar load, in order to either push yourself into an anabolic state or a catabolic state, depending upon your goals. But overall, I mean, the book I think is going to be a very, very nice adjunct to the first. Again, it requires a little bit more understanding than the first one did. And the first one, Get Serious, is really written, as Jay had said, for everyone. I try to bring the science down to a level that would allow anyone and everyone to understand it. The second version is going to be a little bit more in depth and written for the individual who theoretically has read the first one and understood it, or somebody that has a little bit of working knowledge. So that's really we're excited about it. I think it's going to be going to be a great book. We've already shot the majority of the pictures for the book, and I think it's going to bring just added benefit to the table. So that book is due out come December, right around holiday time. So it should be in everyone's hands within the next 6-7 months or so.
Hey Ray, what did you say about it?
It's a one-stop shop, guys. One-stop shop, guys. From the guy between that and the SOAR program.
One stop
shop. I'm sorry. I'm fired up about it. I'm sitting here listening. I'm sorry, but bottom line.
No, it's awesome.
SOAR, yeah, the seminar and the book.
I got some really good questions here. I'm just going to randomly run them off. It says, Jay and Dr. Osborne, I've been following the advice of you and Dr. Osborne for the last 6 months. I've really actually completely changed my weight training program to follow Dr. Osborne's training program, and the way you have it written on your site. I've literally experienced the best progress of my life. I'm 51 years old. In this period, I've taken my body back in time. It's amazing, thanks to the strategies that you guys have given me. What kind of changes can I expect in the training regimen, if any, when you advocated in Get Serious Volume 2?
No, there's not. Listen. The thing about the protocol as outlined is in Get Serious, and it's not mine. It's just that I have hybridized some of the programs that have worked for me in the past, and just sort of brought them into one, with the idea in mind that particularly as we get old, at least from a number standpoint, chronologically, not necessarily biologically, we require more rest. And today's training paradigms, if you will, are oftentimes predispose individuals to overtraining. And then by virtue of that, accelerated aging, lack of progress, lack of muscularity, et cetera, et cetera. So the answer to the question, and it's a good question, is that there really are not going to be any changes to the protocol. None at all. Ray, what's so funny?
Just smile. Listen, I love it.
There aren't going to be any changes to the protocol. Okay, they're just going to be. There is some talk in a chapter dedicated to some of the nuances of the movements that are talked about in Get Serious, which are just basic movements. They're time tested. They will 100 years. Okay, the squat is never going to change. The deadlift is not going to change. Those exercises traumatize the most amount of muscular tissue. Okay, they are long-standing. They are not fatty movements. Okay, FADDY. Okay, they're not going to leave. Okay, they will always be there. Okay, the nuances of these movements are discussed. Okay, how to properly prepare your body for a heavyweight training session is in the context of safety. Again, there's a chapter dedicated to that. So there's not anything that an individual is going to learn as far as, or not. There's going to be no added knowledge in the second book, particularly as it relates to the protocol. The protocol is the protocol. The protocol stands. The protocol you can do 52 weeks of the year, period. Okay, as long as you're taking your rest, okay, week, okay, as long as you're making sure you're getting adequate sleep, nutrition, okay, you're going to be able to make progress. It may not be progress in a logarithmic fashion as you may have experienced during the first 6 months of the protocol, but that's normal. Okay, you're just functioning like any other normal individual, but you will make progress if you gut it out, if you exercise the grit. Okay, to get through those heavy training sessions. I just did one. That's why veins are popping out of my head still, and I'm sweating. But it's nothing is going to change. Nothing. Okay, it's just more about safety and more about preparing yourself for these heavy training regimens. Okay, but it doesn't matter if you're 70 years old, you can still squat. There's no reason why you can't. Okay, to believe that you can't because your bones are brittle, or you're going to hurt your knees, or you're going to hurt your back, it's a bunch of BS, and we know that. Jay, you're living proof of that.
Okay, Scott's got a question for you, Doc.
Well, no, I mean, it's for everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
I know you guys have SOAR planned, the event, in June. Are you planning on having more throughout the year, and what's that going to look like? So just in case people can't participate for that timing.
So it's a great question. So it really is going to depend on what we get for this first one. I mean, the sales page is there right now, but like from us actively, aggressively marketing it starts early next week. So we're going to have literally a full 6 weeks to sell this program. Based on the response, it's obviously very affordable now. It's not the price that we originally were going to price it at to get to build up a bigger funnel. Right now, and Doc, this can change, but we have one for February. October. So and just so everybody knows, like the ultimate goal, I think, long term for SOAR is. Doc is eventually going to get licensed to practice in the state of California. He may get licensed to practice in Nevada. I don't know. That's down the road. But we want to take this to places where people need this. And what I mean by that is that, and again, there's regulations and stuff that he's going to uphold based on medical licensing and whatnot. But there's a lack of this kind of awesome information internationally, big time. Okay, and I've heard from a lot of different people that, wow, you should bring this to London in the UK, you should bring this to Germany, you should bring this to Japan, you should bring this to Saudi Arabia, blah, blah, blah. I keep hearing that. So I think ultimately, our long-term ambition with this is, and again, everything will shift as time goes, but I think we would like to do this monthly. And I think we would like to be able to offer this in different, geographical locales so that people from different parts of the world can attend, and it's not cost prohibitive from a traveling standpoint or even just a time traveling standpoint. Because somebody in Australia it's a week, So I don't know if we'll ever get to that point. I mean, obviously that's our ambition and that's our goal, but that's where we are. But for this year, I think the answer is right now June and probably either September or October. But quarterly. That's until we develop a brand, until we develop a reputation that's big enough to sustain this. I think monthly, which is again ultimately where we want to go. I think that's what the goal is for now. All right, Doc, I'm going to throw some questions at you right here. I got one from a woman. I have no idea who she is. She sent this in. She said, Doc, I'm a former competitive professional female bodybuilder. I'm well versed in the world of anabolics and synthetic hormones. I am currently experiencing menopause symptoms such as hot flashes, mood swings, lack of sleep, and brain fog. Can someone such as myself come to your clinic in Florida, get tested, and have my anonymity and confidentiality assured?
Yeah. Listen, if that's not sort of abided by, I literally will go to jail. Okay, that's called HIPAA. Okay, I have no intention of wearing orange nor stripes. Okay, in the future.
Right.
Orange, horrible color for you, doctor. Oh, horrible.
Listen, these things go without saying. Any doctor has to abide by these laws. Okay, so there's no question. Okay, I do have some individuals who prefer to sort of come in the back door at this point, into the practice, and that's fine too. I don't mind. Whatever is necessary, whatever they feel is necessary to maintain their anonymity, will be abided by. I mean, this is a customized, individualized type of medicine. So whatever types of measures need to be taken in that regard or others, of course. I mean, there's not even a question. But as far as patient confidentiality, we are mandated. There's not even a question about something like that at all.
Got you. Okay, so I guess just to see a little bit with that. So for females, I know women have this question all the time, but like, do you feel? I mean, I already know your answer, but I mean, should a woman be concerned? I mean, obviously, they see our show and they listen to our questions and we talk about TRT all the time. But should a woman be concerned if they want to optimize their hormones to work with you? I mean, are you going to be able to handle them just as adequately as you can handle any man?
I do now.
Right.
It's not a problem at all. They're a little bit more, and I talk about this in the book just as an overview, because the hormone chapter, which is obviously going to be a lot more robust in the second version, it overviews the fact that women who are candidates, they're a little bit more complex, because in addition to managing basically testosterone levels and thyroid levels and estradiol levels in a man, now you have you're managing potentially estrogen metabolites, progesterone levels, testosterone, thyroid. So there are a couple of other considerations when it comes to women. So it makes them a little bit more of a challenge, okay? Because we're not just taking care of individuals that are postmenopausal, but you're actually taking care of individuals that are perimenopausal. And those people that are perimenopausal and are still bleeding, sometimes there are issues with that and getting them cycled correctly, et cetera, et cetera. So they're a little bit more complex than males, but I have no problems taking care of them. I'm not the person who does any female exams in the office. That's not what I do. Okay, as long as they have a very, very good working relationship with their gynecologist and their breast doctor, I defer all of that stuff to them. Okay, and they all are of course mandated to get their yearly Pap smears and mammograms and breast evaluations if I'm going to be prescribing hormones for them. But there's no problem bringing them through the practice. No.
Awesome. Okay, so last question, and we'll let everybody go. You may have answered this before. I apologize if you did, but in the last hangout, you mentioned using NAC supplements to boost your glutathione levels and cleanse your liver. Do you test for glutathione levels in your patients to see if there's a deficiency? And I have my own anti-aging doctor, and he wrote me a script for an injectable L-glutathione supplement. What are your thoughts on the effectiveness of this?
Yeah, I think that here's the problem with a lot of supplements. The problem with a lot of supplements is that there's really no way to measure efficacy. The half-life of glutathione, I think I had talked to Jim about this. It's transient. Okay, so to start measuring these antioxidants in your blood, I don't think it's a very, very a good indicator of necessarily efficacy, et cetera, et cetera. That said, is it worthwhile to use glutathione supplements IV? Certainly the ones that are oral, the superoxide dismutase supplements, the oral glutathione, I think I think that they're worthless. They're degraded by the body, and they need to be injected. So you need to be getting them in IV form if you're going to be getting them. But as far as spending the extra dollars on these IV infusions of glutathione and subsequently getting levels, et cetera, I think that your money is better spent. That said, what I would do is I would recommend making sure that you're taking adequate doses of antioxidants, vitamin C, and precursors to your antioxidants, such as N-acetylcysteine, which feeds into the glutathione pathway, just to make sure that your body is making them. But to go and start getting injectable antioxidants, I really don't think that there's that it's worth the added expenditure, quite frankly. You can buy the NAC for nothing, okay, but I can guarantee you that a glutathione injection is going to be quite costly. Okay, and bang for the buck. I just don't think that it's worth it. I really don't.
Awesome. Doc, I have no idea. I can't even imagine if you had another child. I mean, my God, McKenna has got more energy. She's got twice the energy of both of my daughters. I mean, all I can hear is...
You hear her in the background destroying my house?
I'm thinking, like, I don't know how Melissa's got to be completely insane. I mean, all I hear is McKenna banging and making noises and doing these. I'm like, I mean, I guess I just forget about how my daughter Gabby is now 5, and she was like that too. God.
Totally.
That's awesome. Okay, well, we're done, guys. We really appreciate everybody coming on today. Ray, do you have anything you want to say? Thanks for coming on and staying here. And I know you didn't have much input, but do you want to say anything?
Nope, I think I said it all. Get your butts down the SOAR so we can unleash it.
Yeah.
You want to tell everybody you're going to be out here in LA in like 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, I'm actually.
Paparazzi might hit you at the airport. I don't know if you want to tell them we're going to be flying in. We don't want no paparazzi.
No, heading to England to do a TV show, and then as soon as I get back, I'm heading out to UCLA under Jim Moore and Sal Alosi, and I'm going to lead the team for the 2nd year in the row doing the Murph Challenge. Twice in the same day I get to do it. So leading by example, guys.
So I'm sure we'll be meeting up with you for dinner. That's awesome. Doc, do you have anything final you want to say?
No. Get your butts down there. Get your butts down here, I should say. It's going to be
June 24th to June 27th, guys. Again, SOARforever.com. Once again, thanks for Scott for coming by today. It was awesome. The transcript will be on the blog, I'm sure, by the weekend. That's it. We look forward to seeing everybody again. If you guys are having problems getting a hold of Dr. Osborne's nurses, just reach out to me, and I will facilitate you with their new email address. But other than that, everybody have a great day.
SOAR forever!
That's it. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.